Hello, everybody, and welcome to our new Analytics and Data Techcast. While we are waiting for more people to join us, I'm just, they have the pleasure to host this Techcast today. My name is Sarah Weiss-Kammerman. I'm Oracle Director and part of the Analytics and Data Oracle Research community. And we have an amazing presentation today. It's from Heli Helskiaho. Heli honestly doesn't need any presentation, but we will say something about her very soon. The topic of this session is very important these days. Is about machine learning, and it's back to basics. OCI, AutoML, and AI services. That makes machine learning easier. So we're going to have a very good session and very interesting about all the content that she's going to share with us. So let's start with some things that I want to tell you about analytics and data Oracle community first. The first thing that I want to share with you is our Techcast, our next Techcast. So we have a very good session. We have our spring Techcast days on May. We had a very fun live session from Kscope, and on our next session on August 25th, it will be Oracle Analytics Cloud and AI Vision integration with Philippe Lyon. If you can check, we have all our Techcasts recorded. So in fact, this session is going to be recorded too, and we are sharing in our website as well as in our YouTube channel. And we have merch, right? So if you don't know what exactly, if you need to buy a gift and you don't know exactly what to a techie friend, this is the perfect gifts for that. So if you can visit our NWC store at nwc.org, you will see part of our great merchandising. And if you want to have just a schedule, we are going to have our Techcast days, our summer session. This is going to be a new format, and I'm so excited about it. It's going to be on September 13 to 15, and the first day, September 13, it will be analytics and machine learning. The second day will be graph and spatial and machine learning. And the third day will be Lakehouse Day, our data Lakehouse Day. So we're going to have a day, 3-hour sessions for so a session during 3 hours, all about data lakehouse with live demos. So it's going to be very interesting. So join us. And well, one thing that is important, just for you to know, is how you can connect with us. So we are a community, and the way that we can grow is growing together. It's the only way to do it for me. So you can contact us. We have our Slack channel. We have a newsletter that we share. You can follow us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook. So there are many ways that you can connect. In fact, maybe you are looking for present also in our Techcast. Just drop us a line, contact us by our Slack channel, and we will love to hear from you. And that's it. So let's start talking about our topic today. So we have, as I said before, a great session, an excellent session from Heli. Heli is an Oracle director. He has experience for more than 25 years on databases, data integration, data machine learning. So he has a lot of experience. I don't want to say much because I will let her introduce herself, but we are very excited to have her here. And if you have questions, you can submit questions at any time in our Q&A window. Please don't submit your questions in the chat. Just use the Q&A window at any time that you want. And we're going to read your questions probably at the end. Heli, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure, really.
Oh, my pleasure.
The audience is all yours.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, everybody. So today we talk about AutoML and AI services, which are part of the OCI, the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. This is one way of doing machine learning, and it's much easier than usually when you start with machine learning. So my name is Heli. People know me as Heli from Finland. Very briefly about myself. So I have graduated from University of Helsinki with master's degree in computer science and working on my doctoral studies. I have been working with Oracle products for quite many years, as Edel already mentioned, but it's always been about data and databases because I think data is the most exciting thing about IT. I'm a CEO for Oracle Finland, Oracle ACE Director, and I have been listed as one of the top influencers in IT sector in Finland for quite many years. So that this is quite exciting. I'm a public speaker and an author. I have written 4 books actually. The latest one is coming out next month about Apex and OCI and about machine learning, of course. So 4 books altogether so far. Okay, to the topic. So if we talk about machine learning process itself, this is an example what it could be. You define the task, you understand the task, you collect data, you understand the data, you figure out what attributes, features, columns you have in the data, what are important, what is the one that you are trying to predict, and so on. You're trying to analyze what kind of data you have. You prepare it, you transform it, you create models, you evaluate the models, you score, you deploy. So there's a lot of steps that you are doing during the process. In other words, we could say that you are doing exploratory data analysis, data visualization, feature selection, feature engineering, and so many other strange words that make you confused. So it sounds like it's very complex, and that's true. And it is complex because it actually requires quite many different kind of skills and skill sets. So it should be complicated too. But for us, it's not a problem because we have a shortcut for machine learning. We don't have to think about all those crazy terms or terminology. We can just start with either AutoML or AI services. And today we talk about these two. What are they all about? We start with AutoML. So AutoML is in our OCI and it looks like this. To be able to use it, the user must have privileges to Oracle Machine Learning. There's 2 ways of giving those privileges. You could use database actions, or you could use Oracle Machine Learning User Administration that is found under Tools. So the person who's giving these privileges should have plenty of privileges. Usually it's an admin user. So if you use database actions, this is what you do. You create a new user and you select OML. This grants the role that is needed for Oracle Machine Learning. And the other way of doing it is Oracle Machine User Administration, where you just press create and you create a new user with machine learning privileges. So this is what you need before you are able to really start with machine learning. Another thing you need is the URL for a machine learning. So you need to get that from the administrator of your OCI. And this is where the person can get it from the database actions, Oracle Machine Learning. So with that link and your credentials, you are able to start with AutoML and the machine learning in general. So this is where you sign in, and this is what you see then. So there's plenty of things you can do here, but today we only talk about AutoML, which you can find here from the left corner. When you press that, you can see AutoML Experiments. So these AutoMLs are called experiments. You can see the list here, and if you want to create a new experiment, you press create. This is what you will see. What you have to do here is define a name for your experiment, select the data source. So what is the data that you are going to use for your machine learning experiment? What is the column or the feature that you want to predict? And depending what you chose here, if it's a varchar type, you will have prediction type selected as classification. And if it's a number, you will have here regression. So there's 2 ways of doing machine learning with this tool here, regression or classification. You can optionally also choose the case ID, which means the identification of each row in your data set. So what you have to do here is name, data source, what's the column that you want to predict, and it will automatically give you the prediction type. So you see there's this additional settings. Well, it depends on what kind of prediction type you just had in the previous selection. If you had classification, you will have additional settings, a maximum top models. So you can define how many best models will be shown to you to choose from. How long can this run last? What database service level is used? So this is low, medium, or high. And what is the main model metric? So metric means what is the one that defines which of the models is the best? So you can choose it here. What is the metric that you are going to use? And then you can choose what algorithms will be used. So the list it will give you are only those that are classification algorithms. You can choose all of them, or you can leave some of them out if you want to. So for regression, it looks quite similar. Now the model metrics are a little bit different because regression is not measuring did you do it correct or did you do it wrong. It measures how far are you from the correct answer. So there are different metrics for that. So you choose your metric and you choose the algorithms. These are, of course, a little bit different algorithms as well. So after that, you will see the features. So in your data set, you have those columns, and they are called features in machine learning. And you can see what columns your data set has. And it even tells you the data type, distinct values, how many percent of nulls, what's the mean, what's the max, and so on. So it tells you a lot about the data set. And here you can deselect if you don't want some of these be chosen for the machine learning process. When you are done with that, you can just start your experiment. So on the top right corner, you can see the start. There's two ways of doing it. You can either take faster results or better accuracy, depending what you want to do here. So as the name says, if I take faster results, I will get it learned. It will learn faster. So when I have done it, it says completed on the top right corner. So completed means that the process has finished. Everything has been done that was supposed to be doing. I can see I chose balanced accuracy as my metric. I can see how it's been improving. And I can see in the leaderboard, so I selected, I want to see 5 top algorithms. So I see here 5 algorithms, and they are ordered based on balanced accuracy, which was the metric I just chose. They have very strange names here, but I don't have to worry about that. What I can also see here is what features were important when making the predictions. So this is telling how important each of these features were in prediction. I can also add additional metrics for my leaderboard. So I can choose here additional metrics to be shown. I can also rename the model. As I mentioned, the name is a little bit strange, so I can give it a proper name that I want to use. As you can see, it has to be alphanumeric name, maximum 123 characters. And this is how it looks like. It has a proper name, SVN model, as I just renamed it. And it has all those measures that I chose for my model. Well, here I can say it's actually, it looks too good to be true, but I don't worry about that. I'm happy with it. And I actually want to see more details about this particular support vector machine algorithm version of my models. So I can see prediction impact. So how each of my features were impacting the prediction for this particular algorithm. And I can also see the confusion matrix of that algorithm. So how does the confusion matrix look like? I don't go to details on this, but this is very handy when you start deciding which of these algorithms is the best for you and which of the models is the best. When I'm happy with my SVM model, I can deploy it. So I just give it a name, URI, version, and maybe even a namespace, and I can share it with other users. So when I have deployed it, I can, for example, call it using a REST API. I can also create a notebook based on this, what was just done by this computer. So I can select my model and I can say create notebook. what it does, it really creates a notebook and stores it here. And I can always find it under notebooks from my main menu. This is how it looks like. So this is Python. So it is automatically doing everything for me using Python. And if I want to go here and change things, if I'm very good with Python or I want to learn Python, this is a good place for me to go and practice my Python. So this is how it works in a very brief way. So I put some possible links here that might help you to start with AutoML. The only trick that I should tell you is that the data should be correct. So when you start doing the prediction, make sure your data types are correct. You have the right kind of data type, data set, and so on. So that's probably the trickiest thing. The rest of that, Oracle will handle for you. You will just have your model created and choose the best one. Okay, then we come to mathematics and statistics, which one is the best. But that is also quite easy with AutoML. I also mentioned we talk about AI services today. Well, what are AI services? They are actually pre-trained models. So they are already trained, those models, but they are for a specific use case. So there is no model that you can use for everything. There's a model that you can use for a specific use case. They are all trained and maintained by Oracle. So they are improving all the time without you doing nothing. So you can just use them and Oracle is training them for you. And you use them with your own data. This is where you find these AI services. You go to Analytics and AI in your OCI console, and you see AI services. There's language, speech, vision, anomaly detection, and digital assistant. Today, we don't talk about digital assistant because that's a little bit more complex. We talk about these easier topics or more clear topics. And we also talk about data labeling, which is quite important for machine learning. So if we start with language service, language is very interesting. So language can be used as a pre-process for something else that you do with machine learning, or it can be used as itself. In language service, you can have language detection, which will find out what language is this text about. So this is about written text. Text classification is classifying the text. Key phrase extraction is finding key words or key phrases from the text. Named entity recognition is finding named entities. So it has a list of entities that it's finding from your text. And then sentiment analysis. So is this text, is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? And this is all pre-built for you. You just use it and that's it. There are some prerequisites that you have to do before you are able to use the language service. You need to create policies. I don't go to details on that, but ask your administrator to give you the right policies so that you are able to use the language. Okay, let's go and do a demo here. So the language service we find here. You start with text analytics. So this service here does all the things I explained just a second ago automatically. But if you are using REST APIs, you can call just one of the services. But when you're using it from the console, it's actually doing all of them automatically for you. I will take my own text here. So I will just enter here my text. This is from our latest book about Apex and OCI. And I press Analyze. What I get here is the results. First of all, the language detection is telling me this is very, very high probability that this is English. So it's quite confident it's English. It says it's computer and electronics enterprise software, and it's very sure about that as well. Okay. Named entity recognition, you can see the colors here. There's blue here, which is organization, and there's red, which is a product. So these are the categories or these named entities that it's finding from the text. And it's telling this is a word book is a product, and it's very confident about it, and so on. And Oracle is obviously an organization. The key phrase extraction is finding here Apex, book, OCI, and so on. So it's finding keywords. The sentiment is telling me that this is actually quite mixed, but it's not too sure about it. It's about 50% sure about the sentiment. There's two sentiment analysis doing. The first one is aspect-based sentiment, which is the word book here is positive, Oracle application is neutral, Oracle Cloud features are positive, and so on. But it also does sentence level sentiments. So it takes a sentence and says that this sentence is neutral, this sentence is positive, and so on. Well, as you know, I'm Heli from Finland, so I come from Finland, and the language we speak in Finland is called Finnish. And of course, whenever I test anything that has something to do with speech or text or whatever, I always need to test it with Finnish language. So I'm putting here, there's a book called Seven Brothers in Finland, and it's a Finnish book, and this is some kind of explanation about that particular book. So I put here text in Finnish. What does it find out? Well, first of all, surprise, surprise, it knows it's Finnish. Secondly, it says it's society and state, religion and belief. Not sure if that's correct or not, but it's not very sure about it either. Named entity recognition can find here, Alexis Kivi is the author, so it can find the person here. It finds date and time. This is the year when the book was published and so on. So actually, it is pretty good with this. And this is number 3, and it says it's quantity and number. So yes, not bad at all. What about key phrase extraction? So it finds here Seven Brothers, a novel written by Alexis Kivi, and so on. This is actually amazing. Very good job. And if we go to the sentiment here, the document itself, it's neutral. Yeah, it is. It's just telling about the book. From the aspect, it couldn't find any aspects, and from the sentiment level, we can see it's neutral. So my quick analysis here is that it's not too good with the sentiments yet, but it's very good with all these previous services here. So this is what is language about. I have some links there for you if you want to read more about it or test it yourself and so on. Another thing I was thinking we talked today is speech. So speech service also have some policies that you need to set up. And this is how it looks like. So you can see the transcription jobs on the left side here, or you can start creating new transcription jobs. So what this service can be used for is, for example, if you want to have text in your presentation. So you have spoken language, but you also want to have subtitles for it. You can use this for it, for example. Or you have spoken language, you want to transfer it to text, so you can use it with the language service we were just seeing a second ago. So you can start here, either pressing Get Started or Create Transcription Job. Then you will see this kind of page where you have to choose the correct compartment, and you start by selecting Create Transcription Job. So I gave it a name, Heli's presentation, and a description. Then I learned that description it can't have any special characters. It can only have alphabets. And then I have to choose the correct compartment and the correct bucket. So where do I have the file, the spoken file? Then I choose where do I store the outputs? Do I store them in the same bucket or a different bucket? I'm using the same bucket for that. What language is my spoken file? What language is spoken in the file? There are not too many languages here yet. I think it's Spanish, English, German, maybe. No Finnish, unfortunately. So I choose English. If I want to use it as subtitles for text, I also select here Get SRT, because that's the format for it. But I can also just select nothing here, or enable a punctuation, which will also put all the points or the in the text. So I will know where are the punctuations in the text. Here's my file. So I choose my file, and I press submit. And then I'm shocked. I get an error message. It's telling me that sample rate, blah, 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 only 8 or 16 is supported, file not mono, number of channels is greater than 1. And I almost get panic here. But then I realized this must mean that I need to convert my file to mono so that it will only have 1 channel. And I do it using this service here. It could be whatever, but I use this one. So I have the same file converted as a spoken mono file. And now I get the transcription result. Hello, I'm testing this service now. So how does the voice turtle is work? This is a very brief demo. I'm pretty sure this is not what I said. So I was actually saying that I am testing the service, and it's a brief demo. I didn't talk about voice or Sterling. So obviously I was not speaking clearly. So in this service, it's crucial that you speak clearly enough for the service to understand. So I tested again, my second attempt. Hello, this is a brief demo about the voice service and how it works. See, I managed to do it when I was paying more attention to my wording. And here we go. I have a text. See the button show JSON? Yes, please.
Sorry, Heli. There is a question about it, about this transcription shop.
Yeah.
I think it would be good. So Sanjeev says when you create a transcription shop, why should I choose language? Why cannot the AI service determine or predict or find out the language from the audio file?
Yes, you can always use the language service to find out what language we are talking about. So that service can, yeah, you can mix and match these services so that they will support each other. So yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay, perfect. And there is a few questions for machine learning, for autonomous. So how is, for AutoML, how is feature importance calculated? Based on what algorithm? Is it PCA based?
Actually, I don't know, because it's done by Oracle, so I don't know what's actually happening there. But yeah, I have seen that it's different if I choose the quick one, the fast, or the accurate. So I can see it looks different. So it's obviously going to the different route under the hood, but I don't know in details what happens. But it should be pretty good, because I have used it in many cases and it looks to be accurate. So it really knows what are those features that are important in predicting whatever you try to predict. So it looks like it knows what it's doing, but I don't know in details what it is doing.
Perfect. Okay, Sanjeev said ketos, and Heli will understand this. So I mentioned that it's something in Finnish.
Yes, it means thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, yes.
Well, very good for Sanjeev. And we have another question. If we can use the model built on Oracle Machine Learning in data science service.
Yes. Well, actually, you can use it anywhere, because it is, you can publish it as, you can use it inside the Oracle database, or you can just bring it out from the database anywhere. So if you have your Python program somewhere outside Oracle, you can use the same model there as well. So there's ways of exporting it from Oracle to anywhere, including data science service.
Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Yes. So I mentioned that when you are here with your transcription result, you can press show JSON. And JSON is actually showing you what was in that spoken file according to this service. So it tells, in the transcription, it tells, I put here some of the text. So it tells the timing. So it used words token. So token is like a word. So it finds a word hello in start time, end time. It's very confident that this is what I said in this recording. I said hello, and this is type word. I mentioned punctuation. Here is punctuation token, punctuation, start time 20 and so on, and end time 20 so on. And it's confident about 44% about it, that is a punctuation. So this is the kind of JSON file that it produces. So it is quite amazing how it can do that. So in the object store, I mentioned that this is the place where it finds my converted voice WAV file, but it also stores here the results that it just built. It creates its own folder here where it has the JSON file that we just saw, and also the SRT if you chose that to be done. SRT is the one that you use for subtitles. So this is quite cool. And you can find the files here and you can just use them somewhere else if you want to. Also some links about speech. Then one of my favorite ones, again, I think they are all my favorite, but Vision is super exciting. So Vision is using image classification, object detection, and document AI. And I was thinking I will show that also live to you, if I can only find the correct place here. So again, I go here to Analytics and AI, and I go to Vision. So in Vision, I will start with image classification. So I can use whatever Oracle is offering me here to test. I can select a local file or object storage file. I'll select a local file from my computer. I take a photo where I'm presenting with my husband in Germany in the Apex Connect conference. This picture is a little bit strange, I think. It's hard for me to understand what's in the picture. So let's see what the computer thinks. Well, it sees text. That's true. There is text. It sees person, clothing, human arm, and human body. Not bad at all. It actually finds a lot of things from here. So as a raw text format, it will give the same thing here. What is the text that it can find from the picture? So all the text as a line or as words. And by the way, if you're excited about REST APIs like I am, you can get the request and the response always here, so you can see how they should look like. Okay, so this is quite simple, but what if I do object detection? I'll use the same photo for this. So in this photo, as I already said, I find it a little bit difficult to read, but obviously the machine finds it difficult too, because it's saying that I'm wearing a hat. I don't have a hat. It's the miracle logo E here, not my hat. So I'm not too happy with that, but it finds the persons. That's good. What if I take another picture? This is with my Swedish friend Matthias in the Apex Day in Stockholm. So we are just having a coffee break. It finds a lot from this picture. So it finds classes. So it's marks with red, blue here. We have pair of classes, pair of classes. It finds footwear, person, another pair of classes. What is fashion accessory? Okay, it's my Apple Watch. That's fashion accessory, and so on. So it finds a lot of interesting things from this picture. And as a text, there's 3 words they can find: evil ape and I am I. So this is what it can do so easily. So I didn't do any magic here, the computer did. Okay, my favorite, document AI. Of course, it works with Oracle examples. Of course it works. So I want to test with my own receipt. I went to the local grocery store yesterday and I bought something. So let's see what it says. Well, it's analyzing it and it says it's a receipt. That's true. This is a receipt. 100% sure. Yes. It says it's English. No, it's not English, but it can already tell that it's not too sure about its English. This is Finnish. Okay, so the raw text in this receipt, it finds some text, also the words, the key values. So the merchant name is S Market, address, transaction time, transaction date. So all these details here are not in English and it still finds them. So it's not using keywords or anything like that. It just knows these are a date and a time. And note this is in Finnish format, not the US format, and it still recognizes it. It finds lines like total price, I have been buying salmon, and so on and so on. And as a table format, it will show me that I have bought salmon it costs $7.90, but I got a discount for $74 and so on. So it can really read what my receipt is saying. So I find this quite impressive. You can also download it as searchable PDF. So this receipt will be stored as PDF where I can search keywords or whatever I want to find from that file. Again, some links. Anomaly detection. That's quite exciting. So anomaly detection is about identifying rare events or observations. It is something that is very different from maturity of the data. To be able to do that, of course, we have to teach what is normal. So here, it could be possible that this 1 star here is an anomaly, but we have to teach what is normal so that we can know if it's an anomaly or not. So again, prerequisites, you have to create policies and you have to grant access to the data. And anomaly detection is about data. Then you create a project, you create a data asset, you create and train a model, and you detect with new data set using that model that you just trained. The data should not include outliers. So you should be teaching what is normal. To be able to teach what is normal, the training data should have all possible normal situations in it. So it knows what's normal. So no outliers, all normal situations must be in the data set. It also have rules for the column names should either be column names or no column names. Either have all of the rows should have the date and time as the first column, or none of them should have the first column. They should be ordered by the time. So the eldest is the first and then the newest is the last. If any of the columns is null for one row, you should write null in that particular place so it knows it's null. If any of the rows is completely nulls, you shouldn't have it in the data set, but because it's confusing and so on. So there are some things that you have to pay attention when you're building the data set. And if you run into problems, probably it's about the data or the privileges. So either of these is most likely the explanation why it's not working. So how it works? I said you create the project first. So in anomaly detection, you select create project. Then you create data asset. So when you have selected the project, you create a data asset. You select the correct compartment. You might give it a name and you select the type. So it could be object storage, autonomous transaction processing or InfluxDB. Here I have selected the bucket. I have selected object storage and I have selected my bucket. I have selected my training data from that bucket and I pressed create. Then I'm waiting for the next step to happen. So I have to create and train the model using the data set I just used. So creating this data asset means that you have some extra on top of your original data so that the machine learning process has everything it needs. So you create and train a model. You can use the data set you created, or you can create here a new data asset as we just did. I'm using the one I created. There's only 2 things I can define here: target false alarm probability and training fraction ratio. I don't go to details here, but it's explaining it very well what they mean. But in the beginning, just use the defaults and you will get very far with that already. Then you check that this is exactly what you wanted, the bucket is correct, and so on, and you press create. So now it's creating your model. And when it's being created, you are able to detect anomalies. So detecting anomalies is just done by pressing detect anomalies. Then choosing the file of your new data set. So we use the model we just created with a new data set. So I select here my JSON or CSV file and I press detect. And then it tells me this is what happened. Well, this anomaly detection has one limitation. It's always about time. So it's time series. It's only doing detection for time series. So here you can see my time series, how it's actually working. So when the actual value and the estimated value are far from each other, it might be an anomaly. And it's showing me these anomalies in a graph. There's several ways of seeing that, but I don't go to details on that this time. But I also show you that you can have the same report as JSON file. If you want to give this to another service, you will have a JSON file to use. The last thing we talk today is data labeling, very briefly. So data labeling is very important because labeled data is needed for supervised learning. Supervised learning needs labeled data. It has to know the correct answers for the questions so that it can learn. So labeling actually means that you're identifying properties for images, text data, and you're annotating them with those properties. It could be a single label or multiple labels. So OCI data labeling service can label images for classification, object detection, and so on. It can label text, evaluations, feedbacks, and so on. And it can also label documents. For example, you could label purchase orders, invoices, receipts, and so on. So using this service, you can build labeled datasets for training models. You can build your own labeled datasets to fine-tune the model. If the model is not good enough, you can just fine-tune it using this data. So data labeling is found here under Analytics and AI. Again, some prerequisites that you should know about. And then again, we create a data set. So we created data asset earlier. This is similar kind of thing. So we use existing data to create something for the machine learning process. So you can select here image, text, or document. Then you define the annotation class. Is it single label, multi-label, or object detection? And then where is the data? Do you want to upload local files or select from object storage? And if object storage, where? What's the bucket that you want to use? And it will find the files for you. And you can define what labels will be used. So I'm defining here woman and man, but you can always add more labels later if you want to, or if you need to. I check again that everything is correct, especially my compartment, because that's always important in OCI to be sure that you are using the right compartment because of privileges and so on. Then I press create. And it created me a data set. So in a data set, I can see data records here. There's picture 3, JPG. And I can select my data set, woman or man data set here. And in more action, you can see I can check the work request. So I can see how the work request worked. I can label my data by selecting each of these images here, or I can select the 3 dots on the right-hand corner. When I have a picture selected here, I can see the labels on the right-hand side, and I can choose if this is a man or a woman, and I say save or save and go to the next. I can always add more labels here. So if I don't have enough labels, I can always add more labels. This is an example where I have a picture here, and my job is to find eyes, nose, and mouth. So I'm finding, detecting objects in my picture, and again, I'm labeling them. And I can use this for whatever I need to use it. And to use it, I need to do export. So export will take the data I just created, the labeled data, and store it somewhere for me to be moving to another place, either using inside OCI for a process or using with another process that I need this kind of data. Here are some links about data labeling as well. Well, today we talked about a language, speech, and vision. Speech and vision are quite new, and we also talk about anomaly detection. A new service that we are all waiting for is forecasting service. It's not out yet, but hopefully soon. A quick conclusion. So your job is to find the data and prepare it so that it's usable for machine learning. And Oracle will take care of the rest. That's the point here with both AutoML and AI services. There's no need to panic with machine learning, even though it has so many complex words. And what confuses me the most is that you have several words that actually mean the same, and it's very confusing. But don't worry about that, because there's no really need to panic. Little by little, you will understand what's going on here. And there's so many solutions that make your life easier. The biggest thing in the whole machine learning process is preparing the data. And I'm pretty sure you have done that for years already, because that's what we have done with databases. So AutoML, AI services, and more to come. This is the trend now. We will get more and more possible ways of doing machine learning easier. So I really recommend you start with machine learning, because start today, you might like it. It is very, very fun. I put some blogs here if you want to read about Oracle Machine Learning, AI services, or machine learning itself. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you. Sorry, it took me 46 minutes.
No, thank you so much, Heli. We have some questions, obviously, and it's so important about what you said about the importance of data preparation. It's because it's very tempting, to just to run to see, just to jump in and to choose what machine learning model I will use, but data preparation is crucial.
It is
with building the right data set to can apply machine learning, to create and train the model, and to apply machine learning model is completely crucial. And I don't know if you agree, but I always say that it's like 70 or 80% of the the machine learning project is to prepare data.
Yes, quite often I hear 80%.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
20% is the one that you get automated using these tools, but 80% is finding and preparing the data for machine learning.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
True.
And we have some questions here that I want to talk about. I think that when we talk about to export to use machine learning model with data science, Sanjeev also asked how is the exported service? I understand model, but how is the exported service? How is it secure? So there's, I don't know, Sanjeev, if you want to just clarify the question in the chat.
So security is always a good topic about whatever. Yeah. And the good thing about all these things is that if you do it inside a database, the database is securing it. But if you take it outside the database, you have to have other ways of securing the data, the model, everything, privileges, and so on. So then you have to think about it, how to really do it. So when you export the model, it includes the model information. It doesn't include the data itself. But when you are using it somewhere outside the database, it also has the data. So you have to have some way of being sure that there is nobody allowed to see the data who is not privileged to do it. So security is always there. There's a lot of things about data, the security, any kind of issues with the data. So it could be driving the decisions the wrong direction if the data is not correct, and so on. So the data is the crucial thing in the whole thing, in every level. But yeah, you have to manage yourself that the security is correct.
Exactly.
It's taken care of.
Okay, and for anomaly detection, the steps you showed in the slide, they are the same for any machine learning algorithm or project or AI service pre-trained by Oracle. So why is this so different?
So anomaly detection is always the same. You have to teach somehow what is normal, otherwise the machine won't recognize what's different from normal. So it is always the same. But here, it is simple because, well, first of all, anomaly detection is using Oracle's own algorithm. So Oracle Lab has built or invented this particular algorithm that they are using with anomaly detection. So it's their special algorithm, and it has its own logic how to. So okay, this is a complex topic, but I say it very briefly. So when you have your data, it compares the different metrics. Well, it's usually IoT or something like that. So it has, let's say, temperature, some other things. So it's comparing them to each other. So finding some kind of correlation between those different metrics, but it's also comparing the metric itself. So it's making very, very difficult calculations between all the values in a data set to find anomalies and to find the normal, to be able to detect anomalies. And the algorithm is very special. And it automatically does this in every way in the data. So not just one direction, but in every direction. So you just press the button and it's doing everything for you. You can do, of course, the same yourself using your Python code or whatever when you are building your own models, but this is doing a lot on top of that. So it is an amazing service, indeed. So, and it will automatically, if it can't find any kind of correlation between the different metrics or different measure is the correct word, the measures in this data set, it will automatically just go to one measure and find some kind of anomalies from that particular measure. So it's very, very smart. That's why it's different from doing it yourself.
Exactly. I have another question from Angel. I said that in text analytics, are you able to tag, customize, or customize which words are negative versus positive?
Well, you can always build your own models on top of what's already existing. So you can always use the services that are already existing, and then you can build something on top of that. So yes, you can customize things, not in the service itself. You cannot give a list to the service, but you can build your own things on top of it. So yes, you can do a lot of things.
And for anomaly detection, how does it choose the model? Based on what time series based prediction, and what is the metric prediction used?
So everything happens under the hood. So the only thing you do is the data. So you try to give as good data to know the normal as you can, and the rest is done by Oracle. So the algorithm, the metrics, everything just happens without you knowing anything. And you can see the data. I only had one picture here where I was seeing, where I was showing the estimate and the real value, so how it works. But everything happens under the hood, and you are just giving the results. And you don't do anything. You don't choose algorithm or metrics or anything. You just give the data.
Perfect. There are a few more questions, but let me see. I will read one of them, and then the other we can send it to you, Kelly, and you can maybe contact these guys and answer them. For data outliers, this is reality. So he's asking, this is a reality in real world data set. So how do you include correct modify outliners instead of outright removing it? So it's again, you're not including outliers in the
Yes, the train data should not include outliers. So when you are preparing the data set, you have to make sure it doesn't have outliers. But when you see the results, you can see that I didn't have, well, it's showing you outlier that is not outlier. And based on that, you can know that the data you gave for the model creation was not correct. So based on the results it gives to you, you can either see that it didn't have enough data because there's an outlier that is not really an outlier, or it can't find a particular kind of outliers, it usually means that your training data had that kind of outliers. So you were telling the model, this is normal, and that's why it didn't detect it. So based on the first run, the results come out and you analyze it and you see, no, this is not correct. And based on that, you should have a new set of training data to build a better model for your use case. And nobody else can tell you that, because it depends on your situation, what is normal and what is an outlier. Sometimes something that is an outlier to me might be very normal to you in your factory or whatever. It could be just normal data. Noon every day, the temperature is 30 degrees and that's normal. But for me, it would mean that the factory is on fire almost if the temperature is high. Well, I'm talking about Celsius now. 30 for Finn is a lot. So it depends on your situation. But based on the first training and then testing your model, you will see if you how did you succeed. So did it learn the correct things or not? And you can always train again and again and again, and you can build even better data sets every time.
Yeah,
and that's the problem with machine learning. The world changes.
Yeah, we're coming back to the importance of data preparation, right?
Yes, and really the world changes. So sometimes a model that works perfectly well today, next week it's rubbish. It doesn't work anymore. It's giving completely wrong results. So the process is sometimes a little bit complex.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Heli, for this. That was amazing. It was a pleasure to have you with us. Remember, guys, that the session is being recorded. You're going to have access to it in 24 hours or even less in our YouTube channel and also in our website. So just check it. And Heli, thanks to you again. And thanks to all of you to attend our TechCast. Have a great day.